Man, we're live.
Hi. I'm waving.
Hi. Welcome to the third episode, actually the reboot.
Good morning.
The redo.
The redo. New format. The Debo Absurd After Party.
Is that officially what it's called?
I think so. I looked
Debo's
at Absurd.
After
I'm owning
Party.
the show.
Absurd. Did you know?
Appropriately named.
I had the dictionary to look the word absurd to make sure I was doing what I meant to do.
It's not that big of a word, though.
No, I mean, I should know it, but it meant a total sense.
Okay.
But anyways, we're here. This is my co-host, Nick Delosier.
Hi.
We sat and talked a little bit last week, and a good friend of mine, we know each other for years, and we're here to recap the Nashville Round 14 Monster Energy Supercross.
Yes, we are.
But first, let me say a couple things. I've been wanting to get this off my chest for a while now. It's an apology to a certain legend out there that I gave a little bit of shit to on Instagram.
I don't think I know about this.
I think you do.
No.
Oh, no.
You mentioned it in the text, but
Yeah,
it's about all the information I have.
It was when I was I had give a little shit to Troy Lee Designs gear when I was comparing it to Fast House, my friends at Fast House, Jason
I remember now.
And I did a kind of tongue-in-cheek post about it on Instagram, and basically saying that calling Troy Lee that those guys were copying Fast House's style, and had a lot of funny, friendly debate about it online, and didn't really think much about it. My buddy Pingree gave me a little bit of shit about it, and then we're at the Motocross of Nations. You're there, and we're watching the pit bike race. And one of my good friends that I've known for years comes down and grabs me and says, "Hey, Denny, we got some friends up here that want to see us, some old friends." And we're pitted directly above from the pit track there. If you're at the Motocross of Nations, it's a muddy mess. So I meander up to the top of the hill, and there's Jeremy McGrath, longtime friend, obviously. Good to see him. And he says, "Man, Hollywood's looking for you. Scott Stepkovic, my buddy, former Rip Rock, been around forever. He's an agent, worked for Jason Lawrence." And I'm like, "Well, where's he at?" He's like, "He's in the camper over here, what your neighbor's camper." So I jump in there, and they're standing with Scott Stepkovic, and my neighbor is Troy Lee making a drink. And right then and there, I just felt like a dick.
Your heart.
I just
dropped.
my heart's like, man, I the reality of me talking shit about Troy Lee just really sounded stupid. I felt like a total dick. And because the man, when I was growing up, he was a legend. He's the one that painted all the Pro Riders helmets. When I wanted, Motocross Action every couple months would show all the Pro Riders helmets, like individually photographed.
I remember those days.
Yeah, and looking how cool each rider's helmet was personalized for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rip those pages out, stick them on my wall, and then I'd go buy electrical tape and try and make my helmet, my plain white bell, look something like theirs. And then when I first started going to California, Chicken was this Troy Lee rider, had the Troy Lee painted up helmet, always had some of the baddest of his helmets. And Chicken would take me out to Troy's paint shop, which was basically at the airport, the Corona airport, this little tiny airport. And he had his paint shop back in an airplane hangar. And I became friends with Troy. And the old saying was, once you got a Troy Lee painted helmet, you were there. You made it.
Yeah.
And so this is my first Troy Lee painted helmet right here.
Damn. Look at
1990. Awesome. Danny, from 1990, yeah. Cracked visor and all. And I'm just gonna say I apologize to Troy Lee Designs for questioning his work ethic, his design ethic, or his design team. And sometimes social media gets the best shit, and sometimes you say some stupid shit, and you regret it afterwards. And this is that moment. So I wanted to take this time before we get in this recap to apologize to a legend for ever insulting him. It was kind of the elephant in the room as we went back outside and we're kind of making some drinks back at our camper later that night at the Nations. And I felt like it just needed to be said, and I just didn't have the balls to say it standing there.
So you're acknowledging that was more than just friendly banter.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought it was a little bit. I was taking a little bit serious, but the fact that I questioned and maybe perhaps insulted him ever was a fuck up on my part. So just wanted to apologize. So he gets that out of the way. Troy Lee legend, thank you for painting my lids. So let's get on to these races tonight, Nick.
Yes, sir.
What'd you think?
Chaos. Lots of chaos.
Pure chaos.
Lots of unexpected events happening.
Well, like we kind of talked about before the night, there's always one round of these at every season.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden,
at least one.
At least one where the bottom just drops out. All kinds of chaos happens.
Yeah. And it started with Austin Forker's day qualifying.
Can the kid get through practice? I don't understand why he has such problems getting through morning practices. He's now crashed, I think, the last well, I think every round he's crashed in practice, and big time crash.
Yeah.
And so this time he goes down, tweaks his knee, comes back out the next practice round. You see him, he over jumps, lands in the valley.
Didn't even crash.
Didn't even crash.
Gets carted off.
And gets carted off.
And he's done for the night.
Done for the night, man. How does this happen? You know, it's crazy. I mean, and the craziest thing right now is it could possibly Pro Circuit lose these two 250 titles after winning 9 in a row, more than they've ever won before in the past. And they've had some really successful years. This year they won 8 or 9 in a row, you know, between the two coasts. See, Ferrandis got AC on the ropes out west, and now, depending on what this MRI tells us tomorrow about Austin Forkner, he's going to have his hands full of Sexton and Cooper here in a couple weeks.
What is a points gap between AC and Ferrandis?
I'd have to look at that up.
Nutter says 7. Is that confirmed? 12, 7 or 12. It's either 7 or 12 points.
It's 12 or 7. So let's see the 250 points right here. What the hell is that? I know, I should know these things. I don't know what it is. I'm an idiot. That's how
it's something minimal.
It's minimal.
Pro Circuit has the upper hand.
He's got the upper hand.
Going into the final part of the
2 weeks off for the East Coast right now. He's going to have next week off for Denver, weekend off for Easter, come back in Netherlands. I mean, if it's just a squeak knee, he'd come back and still rage and win these last 2 rounds and go off and run off in the sunset. Same could AC. But, wow.
You know, it'll be interesting to know how severe his knee injury is.
Go from a 26-point lead to single digits. And what a crazy main event in that 250 class as well.
Let's see what happened. Remind me, what happened in the main event?
That Cooper and Sexton, 2?
Oh, yeah. Chaos early on.
Lap 2, I think it was.
The 2 favorites, apart from Forkner, with Cooper and Sexton.
Cooper and Sexton. Sexton's in front of him. Cooper just goes up in the corner instead of does a Rusty Holland arena cross Denver style. Yeah. And, you know, and as Ricky mentioned in the broadcast, and we've always said, if you're going to take someone out, don't go down with them.
Yeah.
And down they go in the pile. And I was surprised. Cooper got up much faster than Sexton did and took off. And yet Sexton was able to come through the pack.
And they found each other.
They found each other. And
they kind of freight trained.
Kind of came through the pack together. Sexton actually passed him and dropped him, which was nice. I mean, he was obviously pissed off in the post-race interview because he's like, man, this was a race I could have won.
And with the talent those guys have, it's not really unexpected that they would kind of find each other, you know, at post-crash and then make their way through the pack together and find themselves up in the top.
Yeah, it's you know, those guys are obviously the cream of the crop, and to go down early like that and be able to still get through the pack, get second and third, was huge. I mean, they saved their points for the seeds every year, but they lost by Davalos winning, by those 2 going down. They pretty much handed the win to Martin, who's rode awesome, best we've seen him all year. And after his heat race, I think we even said, man, he's probably going to win this main event.
Yeah,
and he does at the ripe old age of 32. You know, we're prepared for retirement. Great ride by Martin, though. Redeemed himself. He's kind of looked like shit all year, honestly. And a lot of people say he looked out of shape, kind of uninterested. And all of a sudden, what did they say? They flipped the switch, and there you go, Martin.
Yes, I never would have picked Martin for a main event win.
I think, well, we all do our fantasy league, and I think that we all had him like either 5th or not even in our top 5.
What was the high score? Like 4 points?
Yeah, I mean, with Forkner gone, it was I mean, most.
And Martin winning the main event.
And no one had Martin win the main event in our 12 group friends here. I think everyone had Forkner except Byton. Byton went with Sexton, and Big Martin went with Cooper, and Stan went with Cooper. Well, of course, Stan went with Cooper. He's a Yamaha weirdo.
It's crazy shit.
So,
well, I guess that's why they say that's why they race. That's why they race.
That's why they race them, man. That's why they drop a green flag and you know, the gate, and because anything can happen. As we all know, we rode dirt bikes together.
Austin Forkner didn't even race tonight.
Did not even race, man. You know, they questioned he might ride the last chance qualifier, which I had read on Instagram like before the show had started. That the racer actually reported they saw him in the pits on crutches, and that he was not going to be able to make it. But having a 26-point lead, he had the benefit, you know, he'd earned it. You know, he's won all the rounds coming up to it, to take the night off, and hopefully that he's not hurt.
I think that's one of the things that makes this sport so gnarly is that you got a guy like Austin Forkner who's had, God, what a season he's had, right?
Crushing it.
Yeah.
By far the fastest guy in the East.
And just like that,
It's all
his whole season's at jeopardy right now.
Whole season, even outdoors. If he tore an MCL or ACL,
and that kind of thing does not happen in team sports.
It absolutely does.
How?
What I mean, you could be, a running back, the best running back on the team, and leading rusher, and you blow out a knee.
No, we're not talking about like the individual, running back. We're talking about the team as
Well, yeah. Well,
their jeopardy, their season cannot be jeopardized by.
Not getting into ball sports. You guys are all get all mad.
Fuck your ball sports.
Don't get so angry. This is Husker land. But yeah, so you and your team sports. We'll get into that here in a little bit. 250 class, first time we've spoken about it, I've talked about it all year. I've always covered the 450 class. It was nice to see a little excitement. A little drama starting things off. Was not expecting, like you said. Points have been shaken back up. It's now an exciting East Coast. We've got 2 weeks off. We're going to Denver next week to watch the West.
In the snow.
In the snow.
Yeah. I haven't had enough of that, so let's go seek it out in Denver.
I've been last 2 years been to Minneapolis. It's blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
Last I think 3 nationals at Millville. It's rained. Motocross the Nations, complete mutter.
Oh God.
I'm going to stop going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just. I think we left here. We went to Minneapolis.
Maybe it follows us.
A dark cloud of just misery. Misery. Blizzard, cold, shit weather. Yeah. Well, when we left, we went to Minneapolis. Chad and I last minute, because it'd been here like 10 degrees all winter, been shit weather. We go to Minneapolis. We get up there. It's -16. -16.
Yeah.
Why?
As bad as it was here,
it was worse.
Worse. Wherever you are.
Wherever I go, it's just worse.
You could have went to Texas and it would have been negative.
It's got pretty bad when Omaha, Nebraska is the great place. It's the best place in the world. I mean, it is, but weather-wise, never wise. Weather-wise,
never wise.
Never wise. So, quick history again on my buddy Nick here. He's talked about it a few times. I posted on my Instagram. Nick bought his dad bought it for him when he was 16 years old, my 1996 125 Great Western bike.
Iconic motorcycle.
At least the graphics. It was a badass bike.
Well, more so in retrospect. At the time, it was like, it's like a satellite Kawasaki privateer team. And
it's like, what's going on with those guys?
Yeah, it was a cool bike, but
it was
more so in retrospect.
Yeah, look back at
what a cool, iconic motorcycle.
Yep, and I only had, I think, 2 nationals on or 3 nationals.
I thought it was 1.
No, I raced Gainesville, because it was still the middle of the Supercross season, and I raced Hangtown, and then Glen Helen. I raced like half the first moto. No, I raced half the first moto. It was 110 degrees, and Mike Metzger had passed me, local fast. Just not a jab on Mike Metzger, but at the time I just didn't feel like Mike Metzger should be beating me. And he passed me, crashed, and then come back up, pass me again.
Was he a 3-digit guy at the time?
357, 87, I think, and I don't know if he was an NCY Yamaha guy at the time or not. I know his mechanic time was Mike Williamson at one time or another. The now retired Kawasaki mechanic. He and Mike used to stay at my house with Kenny Watson and those guys back in when we were kind of central part of town. Everybody was in central part of the country, and everybody's in box fans. So Jay Bone and all those guys would come stay. But yeah, my last national 96 Glen Helen, I said I pulled in the pit, so my dad thought we had enough. And he's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "I'm pretty sure we've had enough." And that was my last national I've ever rode. And a few months later,
happy birthday!
Pops rolled over and picked that thing up.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I think I was living. I think I stayed in California the rest of that year and was not trying to maybe get a job with Arnett goggles and stuff. And they did not choose me. And then my dad said, "Hey, Dave Adelaide wants you to go race arena cross." I said, "Okay." And then the dumbest thing I ever did in my life, I called Budman and said, "Hey, why don't you come team up? Let's go race arena cross."
Why did you do that?
That was really dumb. Who knew he was going to take it so?
What a good friend you were.
Who knew he was going to take it so freaking serious? God, he trained and went out and kicked all of our asses. The next 41. How many championships you won? 5? Like 17.
Son of a bitch. 17 times.
But if you're listening, kiss my ass. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of with the 96. That's how I know Nick so well. We've grown up together. I call him the dark, brooding, silent but deadly guy. I think I did a post for your birthday a couple years on Instagram and shared with everyone about your story that you got drunk and passed out in the bathroom of the bar, and they closed the bar down around you. You woke up in the John.
Hey, I'm just shit happens around me.
So you went out, realized the doors were locked, and passed out on the stage until the owner showed up. So what the hell are you doing in my bar?
Yeah, with a gun on his hip.
Man, and this guy you don't expect that from, but that's how I had to tell that story. So All right, we're in the 450 class. What's Elito Tomac was not there this weekend.
No, he was a no-show, wasn't he?
Elito was not there. I mean, we saw a little bit early, but that was the bike.
You know,
what did we ever hear was the bike?
The guy named, well, the number 3 Kawasaki. Whoever rides that bike, right?
Whoever is
piloting the number 3 Kawasaki is prone to an unexpected stellar weekend. And what do you know? This weekend was one of them. The guy riding that bike was Eli Tomac.
Eli Tomac, the evil doppelganger that has been known to be Elito.
Elito
was nowhere to be seen, and that's great. I mean, that's I think
he overslept. Maybe sleeping off a hangover.
Maybe missed his flight.
Yeah.
Maybe he pulled the Denny and passed out in his room in Seattle.
He's in detox.
Never made it to the main event.
He launched into a fountain.
Yeah. Maybe dove into a bush outside of a bar.
Yeah, he sprawled out in the middle of the street somewhere.
But he did. Eli did exactly what I've said, and we've said also can say that he.
Eli did exactly what he is capable of doing. Unfortunately, he doesn't do it quite enough.
Yeah, and
if you're a Kawasaki Eli Tomac fan,
if you are, then you've got exactly what you wanted to see, and it was nice to shake things up. Some of the people here felt like he should have hit Webb a little harder, or maybe ran it into Webb a little harder. But
I think
he made a point.
I think he should have though.
Oh, you think he should have? You're on that
side. He got it done, right? He got around it, but I think he should have
sent him.
Should have seized the opportunity and said, "Hey, dude, remember me? I'm not only going to pass you, but I'm going to do it with authority, and then I'm going to go win this main event."
Well, that is kind of what I said.
He had that opportunity, but he didn't see his fucking.
I said that last week, actually, that a couple weekends ago at Seattle, that Eli had a chance to run it in on Cooper in the heat race, and chose not to. Didn't run it in at all. Like, he hit the brakes, turned, and Coop pulled away and won the heat race. And at that moment, I felt the same thing, that Eli could have ran it in on him.
He needs to.
Let the authority be known.
He had to do it this year.
As I said, I don't care what you pussy liberals and millennials think. The motorcycle is a weapon.
Yeah.
And feel free to use it sometimes.
Sure.
Move the guy out of the way with your bike sometimes.
I mean, God, not only that. I mean, I keep thinking back to when he was ran high in that left-handed 180, and he steered away from Webb.
When Webb jumped over the head.
How much more of a bitch move is that?
When he
literally steered opposite of Webb.
He saw him coming in, and instead of pulling a Mike Jones and just leaning into the guy.
Yeah.
What's he like, 6'2" probably?
Yeah.
220 pounds at least, right? Big guy. Maybe not 220, but he's a big, solid guy. Cooper Webb, 5'8", nothing against Coops, but the slight.
He's my size.
The differential of the body mass. And as I've said a million times, I throw my bike at Mike Jones as hard as I possibly could. Literally just falling off the back of it. And Mike just turned, and I literally ricocheted.
I've seen him return the favor to you.
Yeah, Mike. But I knew that was going to be coming back, and
it looked like he. Well, okay, for reference, where was that race?
1990 Pontiac Supercross, and then Foxborough.
Foxborough coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah,
he tried to kill you with his dirt bike.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's today. People would be frowning about that, like the Muskin Pass in Tomac in New Jersey, which was obviously a little ridiculously aggressive, but shit happens. And then even the people were whining last week about what Webb did to Mark. I mean, come on, really? I mean, all he did was run it in a little bit harder. I mean, didn't center punch him.
Yeah.
But again, going back to Eli, he could have done that a couple weeks ago. I think made a little bit more of a statement on Cooper. I'd comment on that, and he did run it a little hard on Cooper this time. But
I mean, where do you draw the line though? What Jones tried to do to you coming out of the tunnel, Foxborough, is that?
It's the last corner. I mean,
would that pass today? Would that?
I mean, Mark pretty much did that to Eli in a sense. He just center punched him out the win
last year
at Meadowlands.
Right.
Yeah. And it was, a lot of people were freaking out. A lot of people didn't care.
Now, is that circumstantial based on what race it is, as far as
I think what lap,
like heat race, main event, LCQ?
Yeah, I think you don't do that ever in a heat race. LCQs clearly, we see that all the time. I mean, those are the best races we've seen. Like at Minneapolis, I don't think I've ever seen such an exciting race. I think 15 guys crashed in one lap, taking each other out.
We can discuss it right here, our opinions on it, but it comes down to what Gallagher is going to rule on.
Yeah, when he disqualified Bowers, when he punted Barsha, and I comment on Tyler's post. I'm like, well, you could at least pretended to turn. I mean, you got to at least. make an effort. And I think the big thing is kind of where the contact happens. Like, where's your front wheel? Is that his front wheel? Is it at his leg? Is it his foot peg? You know, and if did you make any attempt to turn? I think that's a big thing with John, but who knows? John.
He's kind of all over the board anyways.
You can't never tell. You don't black flag Chad Reed.
No, you don't.
what was that Atlanta that year when he was messing with Kennard and comes around and black flags him? But again, it goes to just being some confident and I think, you know, this was Eli. He was looking confident and strong, and even though he didn't send Webb over the berm, he dropped him and what he ended up winning by 11 seconds, I think, or something like that.
Typical Eli fashion.
Eli fashion.
You either smoke them by a large margin or
you're 10th.
You
crash. You know,
10th.
Like that one race when he had the lead and fell and then got up and drifted to the back, back to like 8th or something, which is not. You don't ever seen Carmichael do that. I never saw MC do that. You know,
how about Eli smoking green Kawasaki? What's up with that?
I don't know what that was. My dad was texting me like, "Hey, this bike's smoking again. I think he's gonna make it." I'm like, "Well, it was doing it in the heat race too." I know he's had some weird luck with that bike. A lot of rumors have been going around. You know, even when I made that post last week, that people were like, "He's out of there, man. He's gonna go somewhere else." But where's he gonna go? Who's gonna pay him that kind of money?
Sure.
I mean, other people are saying KTM. KTM's not gonna hire him. You know, they got Marvin and they got Webb. They should don't get another $2 million man over there. Yamaha's got Barsha locked up, Plessinger. Honda. Somebody mentioned Honda. But they got Kenny. You know, who knows? Seeley. I don't know if Cole would maybe have a ride if they might move someone else up in that. But Eli having a bike DNF. I mean, he obviously won the main event, but the problems he had at Nations, the problems he had at Redbud. I don't know what's going on with that bike. No one ever really says anything.
Mm-hmm.
At least
that's pretty tight-lipped.
At least in ball sports, you get to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even NASCAR, you hear they tell you kind of what's going on. But in motocross, supercross, you don't know about riders' injuries until a month after they're healed. You don't know what happened to a bike ever. I don't know. Crazy shit. And how about Marv? Jumping through the whoops again.
Hip, hop, the hippie, the hop, hop, hop.
And over the bars. Mm-hmm. Somebody who uses that to his advantage and have that bite him in the ass again just seemed very ironic.
Yeah, it seems like jumping to the whoops. It obviously works well for Marv, and to me, it seems like the safer approach. But
we got in that rut is a big thing. You know, the rut is always the thing that gets everybody. Is once those whoops start breaking down,
and you know, there was only like 7 or 8 of them, right, in that section that he crashed in.
There was 7 of them, I believe.
It was pretty much.
3, I think there were like 3 in.
I think they were like singling in and then tripling out or something like that. Either way, they were only like jumping and then jumping one more time.
Yeah, the Marv would go to the inside.
You know, he
got sideways.
Yeah.
I think because it was polished come out of the corner, and Marv was kind of going to the inside, and he kind of was wheelie into the hole of the first one, and then triple, and then kind of quad hop out, which was really usually very fast, but. I mean, it bit him in the ass again, and down he goes. And with it, you got to really, you know, they're trying to promote that the series isn't dead over. But yet again, the machine that is Webb trucks on, misses all. You know, terrible luck in a T race unless he lands on him.
I really thought Webb was going to have.
What are you talking about? Yeah, we said this could be his night.
I thought he was going to have a shit night from the get go.
Didn't look that great in practice. Time for it necessarily great. Looked really sloppy in that heat race.
Yeah.
Luckily, they restarted it.
Yeah.
To his benefit.
Half visor.
Cha-cha into those whoops. That KTM was dancing, like somebody said, like a stripper on a pole almost.
Mm-hmm.
And which is odd, but that thing was dancing all over. But the guy who was trucking to those whoops in this heat race,
Ken Roczen.
Ken Roczen. What was up with that? That Honda was just
tracking straight.
Gear higher. Plain and out, like no, you know, you're like you can tell when you're blitzing because you just go like bail style, and
is that a tip of the hat to Ken Roczen or HRC?
That bike looked good, and my buddy Oscar's his mechanic, and they got the settings right for this track, and it was a more hard base track. They were talking about how hard packed it was in practice, and then they really loosened it up tonight a little bit for the mains or for the night program, but. You know, and that's something that they practice more on is a hard base track on the practice tracks. So obviously Ken and those guys had a setting for that type of dirt and that type of whoop section.
Yeah,
they were pretty big and pretty deep. And commitment's a big thing too. You know,
I wouldn't know anything about that.
well, I was not talking about you and your ex-girlfriend. We will remain nameless. But yeah, I'm single too, so what can I say? I would say that the bike was good. Ken knew what to do. He was a fast guy all night, obviously, his heat races. Practice times were really fast. Absolutely smoked that heat race by like 8 to 10 seconds. Main event.
Shitty luck, man.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Roxon was on it, and he was motivated. He looked. I mean,
do you think
he had everything in his back pocket to win the main event tonight? I think, and God, with that, with him and Savatgy getting together, not even
no fault of his whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, and Savatgy, you know, I hope he's okay.
Crazy night like that. That's all kinds of shit like that going on.
No, we haven't had that type of chaos in the one race. I mean, between the 2D classes, points leader tears up his knee. The guys in second, third clean each other out in the second lap. Move to the 450 class. Marv goes over the bars in the whoops. Ken and Savatgy clean themselves out. Now you've got Dino in second. Yep. Webb's out front, and here comes the freight train of Eli. And he took advantage of it and moved past Webb. Webb was very fortunate to get a third, but that's, again, you know, back talking to Carmichael, RC, and our messages back and forth. Webb knows how to manage a series. You and I were talking about it. You weren't sure if the Supercross would be comparable to outdoors, maybe.
Yeah, the only thing that I was commenting on was the weight of the red plate.
Weight, yeah.
You know, like you said before, it's probably a little bit heavier towards the end of the series. If you're you got that added pressure. There's only 4 races left. There's only three races left. Each race is more important than the last. You know, so,
and you got to be thinking, don't fuck up.
Yeah,
don't fuck this up.
It's just, I don't know, it's like an exponential amount of.
But when the moto gods shine down, good and bad, it seems like it just.
There's only so much you can do.
When it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
so like.
He's getting all the good luck. Being in the right
there's only
place.
so much you can do. Other than that,
Apparently, I'm embarrassing.
Just like tonight's a perfect example. Forkner crashed, and he's out. He's not even racing. Roxon and Savatgy, they could have easily
been Savatgy crashed in front of him.
Yes. Yes.
And but when the sun's shining for you, it just continues, and everything's all the stars are aligning for Cooper Webb. You know. And more power to him, like you said, because he hasn't had that mental mistake. And he's put himself in the right place at the right time. And he's rode strong. And even when he has an off night, he's still putting on the box. Got a third tonight, didn't drop any points. I mean, dropped some points to Eli. It's pretty insignificant.
Did you just say box?
Coop is not, that's our host, Jessica, our craft services. Yeah. Thank you, Jessica. And, so, yeah, tonight is definitely one of those nights. Usually it happens in St. Louis. You've been down to St. Louis a lot for the Supercross.
A few times, yeah.
And a lot of the shit kind of just rings at that race. But this time, it's a new round. Nashville, why not make it exciting? And how about the crowd?
Yeah, insane.
Packed. I love it, man. I heard nothing but good things down there.
Me too.
My buddy Cody Gilmore says it's a new party spot. He's going to move there, I think. 5 girls.
He's probably going to be there for another couple days.
For every one guy in the bar, there's 5 chicks.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever come back home.
Well, he'll eventually piss them all off, so he'll have to come back.
Or run out of money.
Or he'll end up in jail. Yeah. I love the fact that I told you that in Minneapolis, he got lost on Friday night, got separated from the other group. We didn't go out Friday night. We stayed back in our hotel with Budman and Ben and those guys hung out, the JGR guys. Cody, meanwhile, was downtown in Minneapolis with his crew guys, and he, I guess, leaves the bar. Him and Biden take their shirts off at one of the bars and bottle spraying the crowd.
I saw snaps of that.
Yeah, and so they get kicked out of there, and then somehow Cody just disappears from the group. And mind you, it's negative 16 degrees. So he's out wandering around the streets, I guess, Cody is. And I see him Saturday night at the races, and his face is all chafed. He's got like seal cheeks. It's all red and bumpy. And I'm like, man, you got like frostburn on your cheeks. It's like, oh, yeah, man, I kind of got lost out wandering around in the freezing weather. So at least if he gets lost in Memphis or in Nashville, it's a hell of a lot warmer.
Right. No chance of frostbite.
No chance of frostbite in Nashville. It looked like a great weekend. What are the points now with the 450 now?
Gutters out? All right, bud.
See you, man. Thanks for coming, brother. See you again 2 weeks in a row, man. Are you cooking for us next week?
I have the nut sacks next week. We could maybe make it happen.
You don't have to. I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah, but you may want to see a little pork chop and let B hang out.
Yeah. Oh, no, we'll be in Denver next week. We're going to Denver.
Oh, yeah, you're out of town.
We're out of town next week. We leave Friday for Denver. We're also going to Denver. We love Denver.
But
You're going to stay in Denver. We're leaving Friday. We'll fly out Friday at 4:30. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming over. So Cooper Webb is now a 21 point lead with 3 rounds left.
20. That's pretty healthy.
When you get maximum points of 26.
My math. I mean, despite me being half Asian, I can't do it.
Do we need an abacus?
Well,
Get a pen and paper?
I think
21 points, so they need 7 points. It makes up more than 7 points a race, which is pretty much not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's the fat lady song. Can we crown Cooper Webb?
99%.
Well, I mean, obviously you could have
Yeah. You could have an Austin Forker moment. Yeah.
It's what motocross and dirt bikes can do.
But yeah, it's looking like Cooper Webb is your 2019 Supercross champion.
Yeah. Oh, actually, right now, they just got Eli Tomac's got 280. Marv and Eli both have 288. They're tied. Both 21 points down. Roxon's back there, another 21 points down, so 42 points down. Obviously, he's out of it. Baggett's in
Roxon's
fifth.
down. How many from Eli and Mark?
Say that one more time.
Roxon is down from.
Roxon's 21 points down from Marvin and Eli, and then they're 21 points down of Cooper. And Dean Wilson 6th. Another great night for Dino. Looking so smart.
I love Dino.
Cannot say enough about Dino.
He's my favorite 450 rider.
He's funny as hell. Cowboy boots today, cowboy hat, those red gloves. Always rocking the red gloves.
Yeah, super steezy, awesome personality, funny as hell.
He could wear a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and look just his style. His lit kit is always on point.
Dino kills it.
Kills it. And so someone, please, I can't say it enough times, pay that man. Idiot. Stop making the guy beg for a ride.
Yeah.
Put him on contract. Give him a damn $1 million. He sells more shit, I guarantee, than Eli does.
Yeah.
Or Marv does. Fan favorite. His skits on Instagram are fantastic. If you're not following him already, Dean Wilson, 15 or something. I don't know what the hell it is. Here, I love that man. Yeah. I've known him since the amateur days. I was mom and dad, and big fan of his. And absolutely killing it. 6th place. Started the year in a van with his dad and his mom putting up the tent. You know, he said for a while he was kind of just trying to stick with his sponsor. It's like, man, I just decided I need to get in the truck because dad's just working tirelessly for
him. Yeah, it's right. I just don't know what the deal is. Why can't a guy like him?
His injuries. I like the injuries. And they just did a story about him in Racer X about the fact that he had to gain his confidence back.
He's proven himself year after year.
Speed. That's what he said. One thing you can't teach speed in those first. His first Supercross ever on Chad Reed's 450. He went out at Daytona, had turned the fastest time. Next weekend, he turned the 2nd fastest time. But he was dealing with some arm pump, and then he dealt with injuries once he got on that 450 and confidence issues. But he's just so ugly. He keeps things positive, keeps things rolling. And the greatest thing is Bobby Hewitt. Bobby Hewitt used to run his Team Green team, amateur Team Green team, who sponsored him. And so I think there's a big, so I think there's a big, obviously, love and respect there. That anytime he can help, he will be there for Dean. But sign him up, man. What brand could he go to?
Yeah.
Maybe go to Honda.
Oh, no.
Dino?
Yeah.
Honda?
Maybe.
Yeah, I can't see him on anything but Husky right now.
Guy looks so good.
Yeah.
What gear does he even wear? Fly? O'Neill.
Helmet. Yeah.
O'Neill gear. It's just, everything makes it look so good.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yep.
And so we got Savachi in 8th. Hopefully he didn't hurt his wrist.
He looked good tonight. Savachi looked really good tonight.
Better and better.
Over in a corner and broke his wrist.
I obviously was not a fan.
I don't know if he broke his wrist, but
it looked like shoulder or wrist or something. It was just a silly front end wash, kind of pile drove in the berm. Honestly, was not a big fan of Joey Savachi on 250. Because I was not. Because if there was a chance for him to fuck up a race, if he was in the points, 100% he was going to.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know how many times he was leading the outdoors. I mean, he was leading outdoors for a while.
I don't think he'd be there very long.
Yeah, I was always kind of meh about Savachi, and
I liked him on a KTM. It was kind of a privateer KTM team there. Went out and kind of crushed some things. Yeah, that team that Nathan Ramsey was kind of a part of, like a team manager for him or something. It was just a kind of a little satellite team out of Southern California. I think it even disbanded halfway through Supercross. and so he'd done pretty well in a couple Supercross Joey had.
Really, I have no recollection.
Yeah, and then Mitch kind of picked him out of kind of said, hey, I see like Mitch does. Mitch is really good at finding talent. Picked up Joey, and Joey started working with obviously Carmichael's and Genie down there. But if there was a chance for him to fuck up, he would. And the funniest thing was Ricky would be on the field doing field reporting like Daniel Blair's doing today, and Ricky never missed a moment to like give him shit.
Yeah.
Like he absolutely blew that.
So
he should my coach has now hammered me on national television, and now I'm not gonna go home and hear about it all fucking week.
Vegas, what was it, a few years ago?
When Zach
Osborne. Now is that Savatgy fucking it up?
Well, Osborne, no, I love Osborne too.
Or
Zach,
is that Ozzy just fucking
Man.
hey, I'm gonna make this happen?
a little bit of both. I mean, he made up five bike lengths in that last section of whoops.
That was a badass.
And even Joey said after the fact that he thought that pit boarding was a little off, and maybe he thought he had a bigger lead than he did. I still have that race saved on my DVR
It's a good one.
because it's so amazing.
Yeah.
It's utterly incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
we and I think we're all we were texting, I think, or maybe we might all in the phones. We're all yelling and
I
screaming.
mean, it's ridiculous that Savatgy went outside after the whoops. Equally ridiculous that Osborne made that kind of a pass that he did. And it was a recipe for the greatest mushroom cloud that you could ever ask for.
Probably the most exciting way to ever end a series in
Yeah.
the history of anything I've ever moto.
I mean, that rivaled Webb's Pass and Rocks this year.
Yeah, in that last corner. But this was for a title.
Yeah.
Yeah, this wasn't just for one race,
Sure.
you know. But back to Joey again. You know, if there was a chance to fuck it up when everything was handed to you, basically in a moment. 100% Coop and 100% of him grenading it. But on the positive side, he's absolutely riding way better than I thought he was capable of a 450. His style seems to suit the bike really well. Goes back to me giving him a ration of shit for Pat moving over for Eli in that last main at the Monster Cup. But he's carried that confidence.
That was so blatantly obvious.
That was just so stupid. I hated it. You know, I think that again, and I heard Eli never even thanked him for it. You know, I would have gave him $50,000. Man. I just gave him $1 million.
What was that little maneuver worth?
$1 million.
That was $1 million right there.
Yeah, because he had to win all three mains, I think, right? And that was the last main. Savatgy had the main one, and so yeah, he let him by. And I thought it was just a total bullshit move, but a teammate move, obviously. But and now Joey is coming around. He sees his speed. He's had some off races. I think his bike broke that one race in the sand, which we never figured out what that was either. Damn, what's going on with Ford Kawasaki's, man? Do they have a recall like that Yamaha to get the better stickers or something? So Joey's right now is in 8th place. Barsh is in 9th. I don't know what happened to Justin in that main. They saw him pull off, and he actually got off the bike and can't go back to the pits. He's had kind of a weird year, you know, for starting out winning the opening round, and it's good to see Bam Bam when he's on top. He's one of those guys that makes stuff happen.
Yeah, he goes for it.
And so I hope he's got to figure things out and he's not back in his head again, because obviously it's a mental sport, and you've seen Justin ride the wave, top of the world, bottom of the world, and
For sure.
he's had some difficulties last few rounds, some injuries, and like I think the last few rounds he's gotten 2 17s, and then now another DNF tonight.
Yeah, they didn't really say much about Barca tonight, did they?
Did not. They were at one time, but I couldn't hear really. Everybody was loud and stuff. So I don't know. I think we've covered tonight. We just want to keep this kind of nice and short. It's our first time with doing this. I appreciate you coming over and doing this, Nick. I think
Thanks for having me,
I
man.
want to do some more of this.
We'll be there.
We'll be next week in Denver. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Watching it live. I do enjoy it. In Minneapolis with the Triple Crown, I really like the Triple Crowns. Before we keep the sign off, what do you think of the Triple Crowns? We watched one here last week.
I'm a fan of the Triple Crowns. You know, there's going to be good things about the Triple Crowns, and you know, there's going to be bad things about it, depending on who you are and how your night's going. But you know, I guess as a spectator, the things that I'll say this: the traditional format, I really enjoy watching the LCQs.
I agree. And so I just read an article that Steve Matheson wrote, my friend over there at Pope MX, wrote for MX Vice, which is, I think, a European moto site or something, or Canadian maybe. And he covered it, discussing kind of different ways of them being able to, because I think he realizes as a former mechanic how difficult it is for 3 main events on the team, getting the bike turned around, getting them back out there, because it's quick, man. It's really fast. The riders taking a deep breath. But it said maybe suggesting only doing two 250 mains, to kind of get more space in there. And then early, like starting off the night with like the last chance qualifiers, 250 last chance, 4 laps, the 450 last chance, and then a break, and then into the 250 first 250 main, I think it was. I don't know how you did it. 450, maybe 450, a 250, a 450.
So two
250
mains,
and 3
two 450 mains.
He suggested maybe 3 450 mains. They're almost just going back to 2. But then it comes reminiscent of outdoor motocross, and we know that they want to keep that probably as separate as possible.
Yeah.
Would you ever have every round that Triple Crown round?
No.
Too much.
No.
Too much.
Too much.
Would you like them to keep?
I do. I love the LCQs. That's the most entertaining for me.
It's usually the best race tonight.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean,
You
guys like me, I get to see Dylan Cloyd and Mason Kerr,
our local
Preston
fast
Taylor.
guys.
My local guys.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same for people in other parts of the country seeing their local guys. So I think it gives it a good opportunity, to see people that
Well, I know
in
Cody
the area to be on TV.
Cody Gilmore, privateer writer, and had always mentioned, suggested that, and a lot of people had by them not showing the semis.
Yeah, elimination of the privateer
Eliminates those guys getting
you
coverage.
are no longer relevant.
You're no longer relevant in a sense, and which is a shame because they do make a part of the show. The semis are always. I wish they had the semis. I used to like the semis back in the day.
I just loved everything back in the day.
It's hard to beat the '90s, baby.
Exactly. I mean, you had your heat races, your semis, your LCQs, and arena cross was the same way
going on.
Dash for cash, and jump off. And, God dang.
I know
What's become of us?
I don't know. We've become very sanitized, and simple. But I think the hard as sports grow, become less niche, they become usually less cool, in a sense, because they become more corporate, and more political, and everything's got to be more straight line. You lose that rough edge, that was arena cross. You couldn't get away with that stuff today. No way. Late '80s, '90s last chance qualifiers when Dennis Hawthorne would launch
modern day arena cross. I don't even understand it.
Well, I mean, with that kicker one, that's serious. But yeah, I mean, the way that they had sanitized it and tried to
the last year.
When they were trying to make the little brothers of Supercross, which is it's like comparing GNCC to motocross. I mean, they're two completely different sports. You learn nothing in arena cross for Supercross ever.
Yeah.
I don't know any.
Well, I mean, as far as the format goes.
Well, that and just the way that and
I had no idea how it worked. As far as points and like the 1-to-1, the head-to-head.
You got points from that. Yeah, I don't know.
It was too much. It was too much for me.
Well, sadly, it's gone, and I wish my kid would go back and pick her back up. That'd be pretty badass.
Do you have any
if I won the lottery,
knowledge of
I have
that
nothing
happening?
I've heard some rumors. I didn't know. Cody, I think
Rumors at best.
Rumors at best. We get started right now.
Yeah.
My kid is restarting the Super Arena Cross Series. You heard it here first. So feel free to call Mike and get him fired up for it. I think they're called the Buku Arena Cross Series.
Yep.
Buku Energy Drinks.
Start it up. Hashtag Arena Cross redo.
Yeah, my kid.
Reboot. It's happening in a couple years.
Well, that's it. I think we'll wrap this up. Covered all the racing tonight. Outstanding night, Nashville. Next week we'll be in Denver, West Coast round. We're going to see Ferrandis. Again, do you think Ferrandis had a shot? He's not too far behind.
I don't know. I think this is AC's year. I think it's his year. He's solid.
He made some weird mistakes that last round. It was Triple Crown, but and Dylan's got the confidence. And there's only 2 rounds left of that too. But the last round being Vegas, so you got an East-West race, so you got a place to make up some points with a lot of good guys. So an AC could get a 5th. Dylan could win. That's 11 points right there.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
That's why we race.
And we'll be driving out, flying out, and ready to hit up Denver, Colorado. We're going to see our buddies Wade and DL. Cannot wait to see my buddies out there. And thanks for listening. It's been a great night. I want to dedicate this show to Jesse Rook, who was lost this week. And Godspeed, brother. Wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in to the Devo's Absurd After Party with my co-host Nick Delosier, ND.
Yeah.
Live from the Culinary Studios here in Gretna, Nebraska. We're signing off. Thanks, everybody.
It's a wrap.
Now, where the hell's turn this off?
How many viewers did we have? Do we have like 6 this time?
I have no idea.